Yo, still bills, what's the deal, man? It's been a minute since I tapped in with y'all, man. I'm fresh off the clock, 2:27. It's some bullshit. My boss put a last stop on me. I'm not too thrilled about that. I could have been home by now, but here I am. But peep game, man, let's talk about it, man. It's late. I know I'm about 2 weeks late, but shit, I ain't said nothing about it, man. Artur Beterbiev, we got to rap about that fight. I was right and I was wrong at the same. I was right in saying I thought Artur was gonna be the first man to stop Joe Smith Jr., but I was wrong in how I saw it, the process playing out, man. That was destruction. That was utter destruction. This dude went in. I didn't really start becoming aware of Artur Beterbiev's skill set until I want to say Marcus Brown. I knew he was destructive. I watched him with Vostok, and with Vostok, I still see the more complete and competent boxer out of the two. But I just saw relentless pressure and just fucking cinder blocks for fists in there, and just breaking Vostok down. That's what I saw. So of course I'm convinced in the sense like this motherfucker's a threat. But I didn't see. I gotta go back and watch the fight again. But I don't recall seeing footwork from him. Because even in this next fight with the Danish dude, Adam Danish, I think, I'm like, all right, yo, I see the ability to set up punches a little bit better. I see the ability to get, like, I don't see too much loading up from him, man. It's just weird, bro. It's just how he's throwing the shot. Every shot looks like it's being thrown at the same velocity, man. But the impact of the shot is scary as shit. I'll never forget watching a fucking I forget who it was. Artur. I think it was predicted Artur Beterbiev versus somebody, man. And I think Lionel. I can't remember his last name, but he was like, yeah, bro, that was one of the most horrific. Sparring Artur Beterbiev was one of the most horrific experiences I've ever had in my life. And he's like, sparring him was, I remember getting hit by a car when I was a kid, and getting in there and sparring with him kind of resurrected that same anxiety of getting hit by a car. I don't think people understand just how drastic that is to compare fighting somebody to getting hit by a fucking car or automobile. This nigga right here. This nigga right here. Oh, no, that ain't my man. I thought it was somebody else, but yeah, that shit is pretty drastic to say. Yeah, man. It feels like two cars are colliding, or a car is colliding against me whenever this man puts his hands on me. That shit is scary. So it's like how he gets the shots off. It's not like he's loading up on them. I'm seeing pity pat shots and him setting up a right hand, but it isn't looking like he's throwing everything, his shoulder and everything into the shot. It's looking like, all right, cool. It looks like a scoring shot more so than a power punch, even though technically it is a power punch. So that's what I saw from the Danish dude. I was like, yeah, he's about to beat the shit out of this dude. There's nothing that he can do. With Marcus Brown, I knew he was going to win that fight. I knew he was going to win it by knockout. But what really put me in a different space with him was the adversity that he felt. Like anybody, I mean, he's been dropped twice, I think. And it's a multitude of fighters who have been dropped. It's a multitude of fighters who have been dropped and managed to come back from, having to pick themselves up off the canvas. Andre Ward is a prime example of that. But when you get cut, and it isn't like it's over one eye or nothing like that. It's in the middle of his fucking forehead. And blood is gushing down his forehead to the point where it's hindering his vision in both of his eyes. And this dude got on some drunken master shit, or what's the motherfucker's name off of Mortal Kombat? He's blind and he has a blindfold over his eye. Whatever he got on some shit like that. And it wasn't just like he was breaking this dude down. He was boxing Marcus Brown. I'm seeing footwork, competent footwork, angles, punching off of angles, blinding shots so he can set up the angles to punch off of the angles. That's when I started, my mindset on Beterbiev started tipping like, man, this dude might legit be the baddest man in the division. Because I usually favor the boxer. I usually favor the boxer in these type of situations just because there's more dimensions to him. After a while, when you're aggressive, you may not have as many tools to make adjustments in a fight, and they don't mind muddying the waters and making the fight a boring fight as long as they squeak out a victory. So I was favoring Dimitri at first, until I went in there and I seen him against Marcus Brown. Now Marcus Brown is not Dimitri Bivol, but they're both taller, they're rangier, and they use their height to their advantage. And I'm like, man, I'm not so sure. So we get to Joe Smith Jr. 2 weeks ago. And I'm thinking, all right, Artur's been hit before or dropped before. And Joe Smith Jr. is a dude who, if you can't respect nothing else about him, you damn sure respect his power. And you respect his chin. Because at that time, I don't think he had been stopped at any point in his career. So Joe Smith Jr. comes out and, he's the one that's really pressing the action. And I'm looking at Artur Beterbiev in this fight, and I'm like, this motherfucker's counterpunching. It's not angles. He's making him miss and he's making him pay. He's walking him into traps. And he drops him at the end of the first round. Second round comes out, this dude drops him 2 more times and then stops him. Now, granted, I don't think Joe Smith Jr. was really hurt like that until the last, that uppercut where Harvey Dock stopped the fight. And credit to him, because I think he has a sturdy chin. You dig? I think he has a really good chin. Because when he went up, he never retreated. As soon as he got back up, he went back in the kitchen and started cooking. I think that's a testament to his grittiness and his chin as well. He takes a punch really well. But I was in the mind state that, all right, because Artur doesn't have the best defense, Joe can eventually, he can sneak a right hand in there and floor him, or at least hurt him and buzz him. There's not even really much to unpack because the fight only lasted 2 fucking rounds. Like, I'm just shocked. Like, how is this shit not getting ESPN coverage? And it was on ESPN. I'm literally floored watching this shit. Like, no, I wasn't even watching it live. I was at the bro's birthday dinner, and me and him we have the same coach. We train at the same gym, and that's like literally been my bro since I was like 19. That's the bro, legitimately the bro. And so we both trying to get, all right, man, like, what's going on with the fight? What's going on with the fight? And I just have to, go down my, my timeline on Facebook. And this nigga, I'm like, nigga, he stopped this dude in 2 rounds. He was like, are you serious? I'm like, he legitimately stopped this man in 2 fucking rounds. Artur Beterbiev, I don't know how you pronounce this dude's name. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make it my business to find out how to pronounce his name so he don't get mad at me mispronouncing his name and come and holler at me. I don't know what the fuck this, these Russian motherfuckers just is not nothing to fuck with, dog. They said Ruslan Provodnikov was the same way. Just a treacherous puncher. I mean, not even you. I saw what Ruslan Provodnikov was capable of with Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley is a tough individual. He said he had a concussion for 2 months after that fight, or a month after that fight. I don't know what Sergey Kovalev. I don't know what it is with these Russian dudes. But that is scary. That's scary. That was destruction against Joe Smith Jr. Utter destruction. Destruction. Like, Artur is different, bro. I was watching a Mickey Bay interview before that fight. He was like, Joe Smith ain't got no chance of beating no Artur, and Joe Smith is tough. And he said he was praising Joe Smith Jr. He was like, dude, they're not even allowing him to go certain rank like that. He said the only other person that I heard that was that destructive in sparring was Mike Tyson. Those are the only two dudes who they say are that treacherous and destructive in sparring, to where people are getting paid and they're not even trying to show up to get work. They're not even showing up. They have to wear bigger gloves because of how destructive they are, and they're just menacing. He said Artur Beterbiev is the only individual outside of Mike Tyson that I've ever heard be that destructive in sparring, dog. Like in sparring, so you can only imagine what it's like on fight night. Man, listen, man, I'm feeling like Artur Beterbiev is that dude at light heavyweight. And at this point, I like his chances at cruiserweight if he was like at least, if he was 30, 31, maybe even 35, that he could get a few matches in that cruiserweight and try and aim for an undisputed campaign up there, or just go up there just to try to be unified. I'd like his chances up there. This dude is, this dude is different, man. This dude is different. I really don't even know what else to say, man. At this point, he might be. I think I'd have to pick him against Bivol. I'm not sure, but I'm starting to lean toward Artur Beterbiev. Something is wrong with this dude. Something is wrong with this motherfucker, man. I just. That's how I'm feeling about it, man. Shout out to Joe Smith Jr., but Artur is just a different dude, bro. Like, I don't think he should retire. He doesn't need to retire. You dig? A couple losses on your resume. That was your first time being stopped. It is what it is. That's just how the game goes. Boxing. Ain't nobody safe. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get their chin checked. It's just under the proper circumstances. You move up to, you jump up too high in the division, you're susceptible to getting knocked out. And it just be like that, man. So I don't think he should, hang his head low. It is what it is. It's boxing. Take a few months off, get back to the kitchen and start cooking, man. Shout out to Joe Smith Jr. because he did not fold when he hit the canvas them times. He didn't fold. He weathered the storm. But it just wasn't enough, man. So shout out to Joe Smith Jr. That's all I got to say about it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.